What's up guys, Buddy here, and welcome back for another episode of Fallout New Vegas, Old World Blues. In the last episode we wrapped things up a little bit, finished off pretty much everything we needed to do throughout the Big Empty, and in this episode we're going to be going and finishing the game, basically, finishing the DLC. So I thought I'd strip down to the bare essentials. Yeah, I'll drop that in there, just because. It'll just be easier. I'm going to take Dr. Klein's scrubs and the pre-war hat now. That'll work, yeah. Where's the eyeglasses? There they are. I'll take his glove just, you know, because I'm weird. Dr. Klein's glove. That doesn't... Right, I just want to check.
Want to push my button?
Really don't. Just want to check that doesn't decrease my strength. 1 second. Nope. Super Genius, that's the name of the bonus you get from Dr. Klein's glove. Okay. And with that, we need to travel to the Forbidden Zone, and that'll be it for the game. Oh my god, it's been so long. I've recorded this in 2 days, so it's a bit of a joke. Wait a minute, what time is it? Oh,
Mighty think tank, still cowering in your dome? Coward, fools, cower.
Yeah, they're cowering, but I ain't. I'm about to come whip your ass. Mobius. Alright. I think if you go up this way, there's no force field blocking us. I think the other way has a force field, because we went up this way last time. I think I was correct on that. I think I see the force field. Yeah. Alright, so here we go. Forbidden Zone. Dome. I want to have a look around before I talk to Mobius. Dr. Mobius' scrubs.
I was mad! Preposterous! Not an angry bone in my body! Had them all removed!
Brain tank, okay. Mentats. Ooh, a lyre. I don't think I found that lyre before. Force lock. One of the days that force lock is going to get me in trouble. Buff out. Gotta feed the addiction. Damn it. I pressed the wrong button as usual. What button is my buff out button these days? Is it 6? Yeah. Where's Dr. Klein's glove? I don't know why I'm wearing Dr. Klein's glove. There's no reason to. Okay. I don't think I'm going to really explore too much, although there is a glove in here I think I want to find. You might be able to guess whose glove it is by the fact that whose location this is. I'm pretty sure it's here. I think it's probably on full display though. No point in going through the fucking cabinets, really. Psycho! Gotta love the random assortment of drugs that Mobius has sorted around here. Oh god. That's a big robo-brain. Fixing things. Mobius, do you really need fixing things to fix a robo-brain? Really? Really? There it is. Dr. Mobius' glove. That glove looks a hell of a lot better than Dr. Klein's. That's a cool glove. Well, Dr. Mobius' scrubs do. Science plus 15, intelligence plus 2, charisma plus 1. It's just a flat out upgrade to Dr. Klein's scrubs. Okay. Interesting. Where's Mobius? There he is. Pop me some party time mentats so I can pass all these speed checks, and then we are on our way.
Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing, you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. Little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely.
Is that better?
Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoises were the worst. Would you care for a mentat?
I'll save it for later.
I love mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-terrific thoughts and ideas when those chalky tablets are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start and end.
You aren't exactly what I was expecting.
Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I.
Why did you steal my brain?
Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. The anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition.
I want my brain so I can leave.
Now, that seems to be rather hormonal of you. Flight or fight response, you know. Hard to cut that out completely. Your brain is here, safe with me. We chat over mentats.
Okay, I was curious about some things.
Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. Or maybe it was when I found out some unpleasant answers.
I can fix your monitor, but if you're getting I can't fix your monitor, but if you're getting ghost reception, I can fix that.
The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual impossibilities. Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good, good, better. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon mentats break.
Can you tell me about your robo-scorpions?
Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these rather large scorpions kept coming in from the desert, like poisonous frosting. How scary, I thought. But they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I made them bigger. Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard. I miss sugars and salts.
Okay, I was still curious about some things.
I find things curious as well. Go on.
You don't seem aggressive. Why broadcast threats to the think tank?
Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose.
Wait. It sounds like you built the Roboscorpions, issued threats to keep the think tank occupied?
Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. There's some reason for it. Ethics or, conscience? You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the reasons better than I do.
Everything you've told me doesn't add up. Your plan, even your name, Mobius.
Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name, and my new name overwrote the old one. This name's as real as you or I, although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity at the nature of such an appellation. Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I believe it meant me. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is forbidden. As for the name I was born with, like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop in our perception programming.
You reprogrammed their names as part of a recursion loop? What, to trap their processors?
Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but still rather harsh. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. It's all right, they don't remember. I certainly didn't until you said trap, and then I said excrement, and then...
A recursion loop is designed to prevent the flow of information, so...
The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have found a way to disarm it. I suspect I have Plan C's in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them, just in case. Probably very dangerous, lethal, or worse. So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan Bs in case the A's fail.
Klein, Mobius, 0 is a circle, 8's an infinity symbol, they're all loops. I get it.
Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time, and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quite professional.
Minor detail, but a snake devouring its own tail is Ouroboros, not Ouroboros. Have I got that right? I don't know.
Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in anything I do.
If you lobotomize the think tank, why terrorize them?
Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a reason. That I didn't change. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. And when they start deucing it up, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. Bacteria, finally able to see its host.
But there must be other signs of a larger world.
There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who dialed back their monitor micro-magnifiers. You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco, which forced me to take steps. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a uniquity that they had never thought to try in all their countless escape attempts.
The bullet that went into my brain? Doc Mitchell tried to patch me up, but...
Yes, very good. I should have mentats ingest you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case of bullet headitis. But it was enough for the autodoc in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem. And the brain extraction technology for once worked. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess. With that knowledge, the procedure can be reversed.
Oh.
If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial cells into hosts to slip past the radar fence. I'm sure of it. And once they're off the reservation...
That's really clever. Because they now have the perfect, like, the working brain extraction procedure. Well, if they were to get it by my brain... then they could do it in the reverse. They could put their brains back in human bodies. That's really clever. Klein said they had the idea to get these three technologies after your broadcast. Coincidence?
I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology, herbal tea, and luck. So watch it, potty mouth. My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear. And along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to attack me. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back into its skull properly.
What is the purpose of these technologies?
The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit, why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae pulse desensitizer. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things. They had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't stop the think tank either.
Wow. But the think tank downloaded the schematics, not the items. They can make them stronger, faster. They have the technology. They can rebuild them.
Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is unfortunate. Oh well, at least I tried.
Was there any other data transmitted in your threat broadcast?
Yes, my overly aggressive cammed-up broadcast was designed to keep reinforcing the forget, fear, rinse, and repeat program. Oh, and the get me the things to castrate your only possible escape attempt. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could the other visitors. Only so much science can do when you started talking to them. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're, well, rather intriguing, if you'll forgive an old brain for saying so.
Okay, I was curious about some other things.
Yes, this is getting interesting. You are just filled with these little slices of curiosity, aren't you?
I need my brain back.
Do you? You seem fine without it. And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should ask it. It's quite independent, has all manner of opinions. Tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain. If it wants to go, then fine. If not, well, you should respect its wishes.
Okay then, goodbye.
Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
There aren't any. Oh. That kind of sucks. I think my texture pack might have got rid of the equations. That kind of sucks. Oh well. Oh, there are still a couple there. No. Yeah, there are. Yeah, you can see them a little bit. Huh. Talking to my brain, this is ridiculous.
I'm running out of floor space for my calculations.
What the hell?
Well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been, Crawling through bits of radioactive muck again?
Are you my brain?
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Why are you such a dick?
Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment?
Oh, come on. That's the fun.
Fun? Fun? Is tetanus fun? Is rickets? What about sepsis, huh? Enjoy that, do we? The things you do with our body are suicidally dangerous, and if you could silence your glandular impulses, you would hear me screaming at you!
Don't you want to be reunited? I thought you'd happy to be back in my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
I can see your point. What can I do to make this a fair compromise?
If you want me back, we need to establish some ground rules. First, showers! Second, regular checkups. Regular, mind you, and from a reputable doctor. That Julie Farkas woman, for example, she seems to know a thing or two. Third, you need to listen to me more than your hormonal choir and genitalian orchestra. Promise me that, and you've got a deal.
So what, you just rather stay here? Never leaving that tank of whatever that stuff is?
Well, certainly there might be some things I miss about being ambulatory. We have seen some incredible sights, haven't we? Jason Bright and his followers launching into the vast unknown. Helios 1 coming back online. But still, given the tremendous, potentially life-ending peril that went along with those, yes, I'd rather stay here.
Isn't it just as true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
So, we are at an impasse. You can't feel what I feel, and I can't think the way that you think.
Indeed. Quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it?
I think we have to trust each other, and acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're separated.
I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
So what do you say, Brain? Join me for more wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Why? They promised to put us back together once I did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
You're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
I'll handle the brains. No. I'll handle the brains. You stay here. You'll be more useful outside my head.
That arrangement suits me fine. Do try not to get too many holes drilled in your head, will you? I may want to drop by for sentimental reasons. Right then, you'd best be off, hadn't you? The think tank will be waiting. No, don't worry about me. When you're gone, I'll flush myself over to the sink. It's amazing how far you can get in this place with a good flush. I'll keep myself hidden in the ductwork. Klein won't suspect I'm inside the dome, so he won't know the pacification field no longer works on us. I can also upgrade the sink's autodock with the procedures to reinstall your heart and spine, assuming you want all that flesh and gristle back. With any luck, I'll see you in the sink when this is all over.
Alright, Brain. Whew. I'm suffering from Med-X withdrawal. Great. Mobius!
Oh, I see you and your brain reached a compromise. How pleasant. I hypothesized after the indignant frequencies my receptors had recepted, such a partnership-based conclusion would be low on the likely scale.
My brain told me the think tank needs to be stopped. Can you help?
If I recall, I had a plan that was working, whatever it was. I don't think it reached fruition. I would recall fruit if it had happened. I wasn't trying to kill them, just keep them out of trouble. What was that plan? Blast. I probably wrote it down on the floor somewhere.
Any tactics I could... No, I don't want to attack the think tank. What was the plan you had?
Something ingenious and needlessly complicated, I expect. I may have already told you and forgotten it. I forgot I had forgotten pencils until one day I found one. Spent days studying its purpose before my memory circuit kicked in. Felt quite silly.
Anything I can do to stop them that doesn't require violence?
Well, you could try and appeal to their humanity. That's a tired cliche. And really, when they were humans, they weren't very good humans.
I'd like to make the effort.
Well, there's many things they have forgotten, sitting in their bowls. Friendship, the thrill of discovery. Love, masturbation, the usual. Much like your brain, I am certain there is something you can spark within each of them. Memories, hormones. A wise man once said, "The eyes do more than see. Make them see, if you can." Or if not, you can always make them succumb to fear. It certainly worked for me, for a time. Then you came along, and bravery and/or desperation trumped that little idea. Back to the drawing board, I suppose. Or is this the end? Hard to tell.
I'd really, really like to scare them. How?
Oh, tell them I'm still alive. We had a nice chat, and we agree on a few things. That's true, isn't it? Or you could kill me and lie about it. Either way, it would be interesting. And if you are partial to lying and deception, well, you could tell them a ludicrous lie. The more over the top, the better. That's my experience. They're more than a little gullible. Better make it convincing, though. Or it'll be the dissection table and vivisectors for you. And if you speak of me, please try and make me look good. I am Dr. Mobius, after all. Not some lab assistant teacher's aide.
Thank you. You've been very helpful. Time for you to go.
Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
Fear didn't work. Fear is always doomed to fail, because eventually they'll get up the courage to do what they want to do. What I need to do is convince them that continuing to work within the confines of Big Mountain would be in their best interests. Give them something to drive them forward. Instead of intimidating them into not doing it, I should make them want to do it. And if that doesn't work, we've always got... Oh, yeah. We don't actually have that good of weapons. Oh well, if that doesn't work, we're probably screwed. Sounds great, doesn't it? Here we go. One last big push. And I'm gonna pop some party time mentats just to keep me intelligent enough to deal with these bastards. Dr. Klein awaits. Make sure you're prepared to finish this once and for all. Well, I look like Dr. Mobius now, don't I? Have his scrubs on. Well, let's, there you go. Quick save.
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped?
I found my brain. Now you and I are going to settle things.
I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again.
I'm not handing my brain over. There's some things we should discuss.
And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments.
Mobius and I have talked it over. Reached an understanding.
You are lying. No, you are not. Your heartbeat, perspiration, all excessively confident and sure of yourself. Why would you reason with that maniac? He'll destroy us all.
I can't let you dissect the Mojave. Or let you leave.
Yes, you can. You don't really have an alternative that I can see.
Dr. Klein, I must intercept. Please, do not harm the lobotomite.
I'm not going to harm it. I'm going to dissect it until it's dead. Why the sudden intersection, Dalla?
I cannot stand a sweet breathing organism breathing in and out to suddenly not breathe. We must keep it alive. For study. Slow study.
Gala, these vocalized pauses are unlike you. What do you care?
Klein, this lobotomite, it's a great sounding board. You respect ideology, right? This one's, well, it's got good ideas.
Silence, Dr. O. This is a think tank decision. Save your objections until after I have decided our course of action.
You know what, Klein? Stick a straw in your tank and suck yourself. Long and deep. And my name is Zero. Yeah, a big, fat zero with a slash through it.
A slash as a designator of... Why, that is brilliant. But how did you...
The lobotomite taught me that. Taught me a name is more than, that I should take pride in things like names. And you know what? Forget it, Klein. I hate you. And your theory of brachial beam oscillation? The Chinese had it first, you copycat.
How dare you? Brachial beam oscillation was solely my discovery. I expressly told you that and deleted all evidence to the contrary. It's 2-8. Why are you acting like this? You've never refused to commit necessary surgery before. And this lobotomite needs its surgery. A noble speech, but there is no room in my vocabulators for friend and lobotomite in the same sentence. The very concept, revolting. Perhaps you are irradiated with camaraderie radiation. We have chems for that. We can save you from your emotional addiction.
If I may, I feel as if I must be the voice of reason here. This lobotomite is much like us. Regarding even animals and pets as nothing more than avenues to promote science. There is good here. Instead of ending its life on the table, we should prolong its suffering in the name of science. Like good old Gabe, the finest of lab specimens.
Why am I even listening to you fools? Enough of this mutinous chorus. If there's a word I hate, it's mutiny. And the word jism, which never made any sense to me. It's ridiculous putting j and zm together like that. Nonsense! I count as 5. Like the mighty human hand I once had, with its 5 penises clenched in a fist.
Sounds to me like your math is wrong. And the odds ain't good.
Nonsense! The mathematics of this situation are on our side, lobotomite. I believe... No, wait. Carry the 2, then... If this were a democracy, I would be concerned. We are too scientific for that. So just surrender.
It's not a democracy, it's a research facility. And over half of your colleagues dispute your findings.
You dare use logic against me?
I do. Here's the deal. I'm not going to surrender. You are.
That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm.
I can bring the Mojave, this world to you. You'll be safe, and you'll still be able to experiment.
For you? And for science? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service. As long as you do not destroy us.
I like that deal. Thank you, everyone.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Sync Central Intelligence Unit was impressed by the amount of exploration the courier had undertaken. Facilities believed lost, destroyed, or ones that had simply gotten up and walked to new locations had been rediscovered by its intrepid new master. Internally, the artificial personality debated as to whether it preferred the old management to the new, and concluded that the courier's thorough approach to research and investigation was admirable and worthy of its respect.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The Sync atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The biological research station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat. One of them eventually transferred to the Lightwave Dynamics plant, and began a long, unrequited affair with one of the holograms.
The Sync continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magneto-hydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean. Once it learned of the innovative toxins plant, however, it gained new purpose. It sought to develop antitoxins to flush into its drains and counteract the poisons bleeding into the soil.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough, and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after the stealth suit had left it without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The courier left the brain at the Big Empty. A strange thing to say, but it was the truth. Brains are less important than they may seem. When the courier's body finally passed, the brain was saddened. It kept on, remembering the vessel that had once contained it. Even at the end, when it started to fail, however, the brain resisted going into a floating chassis like the think tank. It never said why. Perhaps it was out of respect for the courier's body. All things must come to an end, and to hang on to the past is something that's not to be undertaken lightly.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries, to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, Old World blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was Old World blues, and New World hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
You've acquired the Big Mountain Transportal Ponder. It's capable of transporting you and you alone. Well, not really. Between the Mojave Wasteland and Big Mountain. To return to the Mojave or go back to Big Mountain from the Mojave, simply equip the Transportal Ponder as you would any weapon. Pull the trigger and away you'll go. Note that it won't work in interiors or in combat situations. It's totally incapable of harming your enemies. And that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. This DLC is incredible. The story is so good. The ending just made me feel, so good. And it's been really fun, really fun, and a lot of good loot, a lot of great story. I'm tired. I've really enjoyed this. If you have too, please leave a thumbs up. Check out the rest of the series. Subscribe because there's more to come, but I'm taking a long break from recording, so I will see you guys sometime.